All right, welcome again. Today's session is wonderful. I want to teach you a very simple concept that you can use in your day-to-day activities in trading, and nafikiri kitakwenda kusaidia kwa namna moja ama nyingine. Cha msingi nitakachokifundisha leo uende ukakipractice. Lakini vile vile I want to take this opportunity to remind you guys about my full masterclass course. It's already happening. We've already started the classes. So for those who are willing to join the classes, you can just contact me and you'll be able to join. Okay, this is the full outline of my course, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So for those in need, you can just contact me on WhatsApp, and then you'll be able to get all the details. So karibuni tena. All right, now the thing I want to teach today is a little bit simple but very effective. I've used it several times. Even this week I've used it to trade, even last week, and most of the time I'm using this thing to trade. So the thing is, so you remember I talked about the nature of break. So if you haven't watched the videos concerning the nature of break, go and watch. Najua mmesha tazama ama kujifunza video hii ambayo nilifundisha kuhusu nature of break. Na katika hii video nilisema tunazo nature tatu. We have three natures. We have the sudden break. We have the formation break, and also we have a sweep break. So I've already explained about this, but today I'm going to talk about something you can use for entries. Okay, yani kitu ambacho utakitumia kwenye entry kabisa moja kwa moja, ambacho in a break of structure, apart from these natures, a break can happen in two ways also. Okay, we can have a normal break in which can consist all these nature. We can have a normal break which can consist any of this nature. Okay, yani break ambayo ni ya kawaida ambayo inaweza ika involve nature mojawapo katika hizi, lakini we also have a break that is on the levels of support and resistance. So when we have a break of structure that happened in the areas of support and resistance. That is what I want to talk about today. Okay, so when we find a price rejecting a certain area and then breaking that area, that becomes our a support level, and then price breaks that area. Okay, when you have a resistance area and then price breaks that resistance, how can you position yourself for entries in this kind of situations, in support and resistance area? Which area or which point can you you can position yourself for entries? So tunataka tuangalie ni mahali gani ambapo ikitokea break ya namna hii ambayo ipo katika maeneo ya support and resistance, je, ni sehemu gani ambayo tutaitumia kama area ya entry? Ama sometimes we can use or we can use that area as our POI in case this is in the higher time frame. Okay, so ni eneo gani ambalo tutalitumia kama entries? So that's what I want to talk about today. Okay, so it will be, and I'll give examples, the real examples which I took myself. Okay, because I hate giving examples which I didn't even take them. I like giving examples of which I took them. Okay, if it is an entry, then I took that entry. So I'll show you some of the example. This last week I traded some of the pairs, some of the entries using this knowledge. Now, so what I want to emphasize is, in the areas of support and resistance, when we have a break, price has two ways of consuming the liquidities around the areas of support and resistance break. There's two ways. Okay, so when we the first way is where price creates for example a support like this, but let me draw properly. Price creating a support like this and then breaking that level, and then performs a micro test, okay, and then breaks. So we normally know, before I go much further, we normally know that support and resistance, the way we treat them is when support breaks, it turns to a what? A resistance. And when a resistance break, it turns to what? A support. So whenever we have a break of any level, we have to anticipate that that level which is broken has changed the perspective. So if it was support, it becomes a what? A resistance. So a first way is where price performs a micro test like this. The way we enter, how can you have an entry in this kind of situation, is by looking the area where that micro test has reacted. So you're going to look for an area in that level where this micro test has reacted. Then you are going to use that same level later on for a rounded test. I don't know if you're getting me. Yani kwa wale wa Kiswahili sasa, ukikutana na level ya hivi, kwa mfano hii ni level ya support, ikawa imevunjwa alafu ikafanyiwa micro test, yani ikafanyiwa test ya kwanza baada tu ya kuvunjwa, alafu price ikaendelea kwenda chini, utaingiaje? Utakachokifanya, utaenda kuangalia ile level ambayo imefanya micro test pale, utaenda kuangalia ni area gani huku ambayo price imeenda kureact. Ndio hiyo same area utakwenda kuitumia katika rounded test. Am I clear on this? Am I making myself clear?
Yes, very clear, MVB.
All right. Now, this is the first way where market consumes liquidities in a way that it performs a micro test and the rounded test. Okay. Now, this is the first way. So whenever we have, for example, this is a resistance area, and then price breaks and then performs a micro test and then goes above and then comes to a rounded test. The only thing you have to look is an area where this micro test reacted, the same area that this micro test reacted. For example, this is the level that this micro test reacted. We're going to use that level again for the rounded test. And I'm going to show you examples very soon. Now, the second way where price consume liquidities in the areas of support and resistance is, now in this case, now we don't have micro test. It's just price breaking the level like this, and then we just want to look now for an entry. Now, in this case now, which area are you going to use for an entry? Of course, in my YouTube channel, I taught entries like camouflage and candlestick anatomy entry, which all these entries are types of the zone flip. And also I talked about zone flip. We have I taught like five types of zone flip entries. So if you haven't watched it, watch these videos, go on and watch them. The zone flip entries, I think one of the videos I can show you here of the zone flip here, how zone flip can change your trading. Go on and watch this video. You learn different types of zone flip entries. But today I just want to teach you okay. Today I just want to teach you a very simple way of having entries with no complications. Okay, with no complications. Now, in this case now, The area where we are going to place our orders is the last reaction in the zone. I repeat, the area where we are going to use as our area of entry, or POI in case you are in the higher time frame, we are going to use the last reaction in the zone. What do I mean by that? First of all, I need to teach you about how to mark a zone. Okay, how to mark a zone. So we have zones like this. How are you going to mark that? It's very simple. It's very simple. We're just looking the last in the case of this zone, in the selling pressure, in the bearish scenario like this, we are looking the last selling candle in the first reaction, and then we mark that candle from the wicks to the wicks. And sometimes you can just use the bottom wick of that last selling candle. I don't know if you're getting my point here. In the case in case of the bullish momentum like this, we are looking the first reaction, the last bullish candle, the last buy candle, and then we can mark that candle. For example, this is the candle here, the last bullish candle. We mark the wicks to the wicks, or we can just mark the wick to the top, from the closing price to the wick high. I don't know if you got the point. This is the way we mark the zones of support and resistance. And remember, when somebody talks about a zone, and someone also talks about level, okay, they are the same thing, because we are talking about support and resistance. The only difference here is when you say level, this is a specific point, the specific point. But when you are talking about a zone, this is the area. Okay, this is the area. So for example, if we have a zone, a candle, when we mark a candle like this, this is our zone, an area. But if we want to talk about the level, in this case here, we will just mark a point. So a level is just a specific point, but a zone is the whole area. I don't know if you're getting what I'm saying. Are we together, guys? Are we together?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I'm with you, sir.
All right. So that's the way we mark zones. Now, in this case now, the way we use this as entry is we are looking the last reaction in the zone. So in this case now, the last reaction is this one here. That is our last reaction. In that case, now we are going to mark that last reaction. We are going to use that last reaction as our entry. I know this is very simple and it's very awkward, but I'm going to show you examples and you'll be shocked. You will be shocked, and most of them I traded myself the whole week. Traded. Even yesterday I got like 3 entries using this very simple method. Yesterday on Friday I took a lot of entries using this very simple trick. So whenever we have a level, we just want to look for the last reaction towards the zone. The last reaction, we can use that as our entry point. Although we have so many ways of trading areas of support and resistance, we have so many ways, and I told you go and watch those videos of zone flip in my YouTube channel. Zone flip, you are going to learn a lot concerning zone flip entries, but this is the way I trade. A very simple way. This is just a very simple way with no complication. It's no complication. Now, without wasting time, let me just go to the chart and try to show you some examples. I think from there now we can be able to understand what I'm talking about here. So starting with gold, yesterday I had some entries. Using this very simple trick. Very simple trick of trading areas of support and resistance using this very simple trick. Now, one of the entries was around I don't know if you can see my chart. Can you see my chart? Everyone can see my chart?
Yeah, yes, please.
All right, good. Now, look very careful in this structure here. Look very careful in this structure here. So we had a zone created here, and in this zone here we had reactions. Okay, so we had reactions, the first reaction, the second, and then price breaks that zone and performed a what? A micro test. It performed a what? A macro test. I hope everyone can see that. Now, the way I mark this zone, like I told you, we're looking for the last bullish candle, and then we mark that. So you can mark the whole candle like this, but that in that case will be, you know, not very ideal. But you can just use the bottom, the top wick of that candle to mark your zone. In this case was a very small wick, but yeah, you get the point. So we have the reaction in there, and then we have a micro test. The only thing now we want to do is to go and look where was the reaction, where this micro test reacted, the specific point where this micro test reacted. In this case, we are looking about this last touch. This was the last touch there, right? Where price performed a macro test, and you can see price went and performed another rounded test in that same area. Now in this case, now in my broker HFM, in my chart, in the chart of my broker HFM in MT5, you'll see this reaction a bit lower. I don't know why. I don't know, it's due to spread, I don't know, but in this Oanda you can see it was a little bit, you know, it didn't touch very in the few inches, but it was just like that. So I managed to get like I just closed with 50 pips from that point, around somewhere here, and it was too late, around 7 p.m. and I was so tired, so I managed just to get 50 pips and I was done. I went up, but the price went all the way to 100 and something pips. See, so that was one entry. Another entry, I just saw it right now. You see, this area also was a resistance zone. You can typically see how price reacted in that zone. See, several reaction, and then price breaks that level. Okay, breaks that level. Now in this case, now we have no what, we don't have a what, a macro test. So price came to the last reaction here and then took that entry. He went about how many pips? 80 something pips to that structure and all the way there. See how simple is this? Another entry before this one, we have this one. Look at this area here. We have price rejecting that area several times. We have price rejecting that area several times. Now we have to look for the last reaction to that zone. The last reaction was this one before price breaks that level. So you can mark in the wicks, or you can use the bodies of that low and see that, see how price reacted to that area. I took that entry, it went over 100 pips. See, very simple, but it needs you to practice a lot, because you know, you need to train your eyes. Takiwa kutrain macho yako. Takiwa kutrain macho yako. So we have another one I took early in the morning on Friday. Early in the morning. really early in the morning. It was somewhere. Let me check. All right. So look here. So we have our zone. This is our zone. See? This is our zone. Now we need to look for the last reaction where price reacted that area. Where was the last reaction? This here was our last reaction. So we can use that point as our entry. You see, price came to that point and gave me all those pips, but I closed with 50 pips because I was expecting price to go even lower to fill these gaps, but once I saw price creating a strong level of support using candlestick, I closed somewhere here when price came back all the way with 40 something pips. But yeah, that's how you manage your trades. That's how you manage your trades. You can literally see also in this area we have the same type of entry. See, this is a zone where price reacted several times before breaking that level, and we're just looking for the last reaction. And you can see price came, boom, and took some pips going all the way up, 30 pips. It was a good trade if you know how to capitalize. If you know how to capitalize your trades, that 30 pips can make you something. So I want to show you more example. Let me go to the 15 minutes. I saw some of the examples on the 15 minutes. And so we have like one example. Right now, all right. Where is my chart? So we had some entry somewhere here. You see, this is gold 15 minutes time frame. So you can see we had a level here, and you see price reacted that level several times. And remember, this is gold 15 minutes, reacted several times. Okay, and we are just looking for the last reaction, which was this one before the break. We can take from the wicks, or you can use the bodies. So if you use the body, in this case, you would have missed the entry. But if you have the, you could use the wicks in this case. could get this entry very perfectly. You can use this last reaction here and you can get that entry. This entry, that's why I like gold. You can just see this small movement here in made over 150 something pips. See, and you can see also this area where price reacted, it created a flip. So we had a week-to-week breakout, a structural failure below. So for those who know candlestick anatomy, and I've already talked about this a lot of time, we know when we see a structural failure like this, we expect price to reversal. So you can see in that same area where we took the entry, because it is a support, it was a support turned to resistance and then turned to support after price broke again with this candle. You can see price performed a macro test, so you can take another entry from there. Yeah, so that was it. See, this one also is another example. See that is our zone. Our last reaction is this one, and you can use that as your place to enter. You can see. So if you see the risk, if for example